I'm so glad to see you here. It has been a minute since I have been able to make a video, and I feel really bad because a couple of videos ago I had posted that I'm doing a giveaway, and then I didn't get back on and record anything and announce a winner for that. So without further ado, since I don't want to forget about that, the winner of the giveaway, which is a free Telly Beans Knits pattern of your choice to celebrate the release of her summer flow tank. The winner of that is, I'll put the name up here on the screen so you can see. I'm probably going to butcher it, but Adrienne Weatherford 9505. So if you could contact me at my email address, Adrienne, we will get you, I'll get you hooked up with that free pattern of your choice. All right. So now that that is out of the way, yeah, it's been a minute. I work in higher education, and I had the beginning of school, and I was aware that that was coming, obviously, and knew that I would have less time to knit and to make videos. But then I also managed to come down with something right as I was going back to school, and I was negative for flu, negative for COVID, but I sure was sick with something for a good couple of weeks there. So I was just barely functioning and not getting any knitting done, which is how you know I was really feeling bad, because I can knit when I'm having migraines. I think I knit when I did have COVID, but I was just pretty much going to bed and being miserable during those couple of weeks. So really glad that that has left me behind, and I find myself with a few minutes alone where I can record a video. So I have lots of stuff to show you, even though my production has been a little bit down, but I have some things that I've been working on for a while that I can finally share with you, some of which you can see behind me. But before I get to those, I want to start with my finished Nanna the duck, which I was in progress with the last time I recorded. So she is complete and she's adorable. And cover up my face so maybe it can focus on her. Oh, she is so cute. She has a little basket which is full of little yarny goods. I tried to make like a tiny hank. It was a little bit hard to do, but I gave it my best. The yarn balls are a lot easier, obviously. She has a little dress, and she has 3 tail feathers, which you can see there. And I just think she is the cutest thing ever. So her name is Nanna. She's in Cinthia Vallet's book called Moosh and Friends, and I raved about how thoughtfully the book was laid out the last time I got on, because I had given kind of a meh sort of overview review when I first got the book. I looked through the patterns and wasn't super impressed, I guess, with just the aesthetic of the animals, but then once I actually got in and started working through one of the patterns, then I really appreciated how well done they are. So I think she is super cute. I got lots of good tips, even though I have knit a lot of stuffies in my time. I feel like I'm a fairly proficient stuffy knitter. I still learned some things from knitting this pattern and just the tips she had. So I think it is definitely worth the money if you are interested in getting into toy stuffing, or even if you're an experienced stuffy knitter, because there are a lot of cute patterns in there. So I actually entered her into the county fair, and she won first place in the knitted toy category. Now, this was when I was sick, so I actually didn't make it down there to look at any of the stuff. I just, my mother actually dropped my items off for me, and my husband drove me to go pick them up. So I just saw what was the dregs of the fair when I was picking up my item. So I don't know what the competition was. It may not have been very stiff at all, but she did win first in her category. And next year, if I have all of my wits about me, when the state fair comes around, I will probably enter her into their knitted toy category. Cause yeah, I just think she's super cute, and really happy with how she came out. So Nanna the duck. Oh, and I didn't say, but I used Knit Picks Stroll Tweed. Let me just put her a little bit closer in case you didn't see. It's this nice tweedy sock yarn. Stroll is super soft. This is the Earl Grey Heather colorway, I think. Earl Grey Heather. And then for the feet, I used Ella Ray Lace Merino. I'm not sure about whether that yarn even still exists because I got my ball at the thrift store, but it has been super handy for little bits and bobs when I need a little bit of orange, because that's one of the things that about Knit Picks, you know, I love Knit Picks' selection overall, but they are a little lacking in good oranges in my opinion. There's not, that's one that I consistently go elsewhere to find oranges when I'm wanting to do Halloween-y stuff, or apparently when I want to make animal bills and feet. They just don't have one that quite suits my taste anyway. All right, so next up actually is one that I don't have with me. I'll put a picture of it up here, and I will definitely have to show it once I have it back. But it is currently entered into the state fair, and so I don't have it with me, and that is a surprise cast on after the last time I filmed, the Always Forever Unicorn Sweater by Wool and Beyond. I had not been planning to do this one. I had seen that pattern a couple of years ago and thought it was really cute. But I do not have any little girls in my home. And so, you know, I didn't really have a reason to make it. But then as I was like trying to decide what I was going to enter into the state fair, and I saw all of these categories for baby knits and little kid knits and stuff, I was kind of frustrated because I don't have any of those. I do make stuff for babies and children, but it's all like it goes out immediately as gifts. So I didn't have anything just on hand. And so I was like, you know what? I'll see if I can knit that sweater up in the 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that I had before my items had to be at the fair. So I set that as kind of a little challenge for myself and actually knit it up much more quickly, which was a good thing because then I got sick and I would not have gotten it done if I had taken any longer, you know, waited around to make much progress on that. So as it was, I was tying on the mane on the day that I started feeling bad. And in fact, I thought I might have just like caused muscle pain from sitting in the floor tying on the pieces. But as it turned out, that was just the prelude to the virus that I was coming down with. So this pattern is, I think, adorable. Like my pictures don't look very good. The lighting was not good for those. So it's much cuter in person, in my opinion. I made it with Knit Picks Snuggle Puff, which is a blown yarn with Pima cotton. So it has like a nylon core, and then Pima cotton is the material instead of, I think more commonly, you know, we think of alpaca or something, but in this case, it's cotton. And so I think Snuggle Puff makes excellent children's clothing because it is super, super, super soft. Super soft and fluffy. It does shed when you're working with it, which can be kind of annoying. These colors that I was working with, I didn't find to be too terribly sheddy. I also don't think that like a cotton yarn is the best for working color work and tarsia, you know, because the fibers just don't want to nestle together the way a wool would. And I think the original sample, Wool and Beyond sample, I want to say was made with maybe even unspun, you know, something fairly rustic and definitely woolly, not a cotton yarn. So so maybe not the ideal fiber for the pattern, but I think ideal fiber for children who are going to be wearing it. So hopefully whatever child ends up with it will appreciate that it is nice and soft and cuddly. And I don't know how well Snuggle Puff holds up over time, because I haven't ever actually kept anything that I've made with it. It's all gone to children outside of my household. So I don't know if it ends up looking horrible and pilly after a few wears or what, but it unfortunately, I think unfortunately, because I have enjoyed working with it, it is a discontinued yarn. So most of what I have gotten has been picked up as they were discontinuing it and clearancing it out on the Knit Picks website. So I think I paid, sorry, I do not have the numbers for how much this cost me, because I probably paid $2 a ball maybe for the Snuggle Puff, and there were, I used maybe 5 balls in this this one, but I have actually made a whole nother set of sweaters from this yarn. This was like leftovers from a larger project that I had used several of these colors of Snuggle Puff for. So anyway, I thought the pattern was like, I just think it's so cute. The design that with the diagonal that goes around the, wraps around the trunk of the person who's wearing it. Yeah, I just think it's super cute. The pattern was fine. It's a little annoying to work because, like, one, it's intarsia, which is not my favorite to start with. But what is really weird about this one, or not weird, just annoying, I guess, is that you work it in the round. So you do intarsia, but you're doing it in the round. So you're kind of like short rowing at the end of each of your rounds and then working back around. So it's like you end up essentially working it flat. You like still have to do that short row thing. So anyway, it's kind of annoying, but and I could have changed it so that it would be knitted all flat, but I just didn't want to like use the brain power to figure out how I was going to do that. All right, next up, I can finally show my completed Darius cardigan. So I'll have some pictures of me wearing this going over on the side, but I'll show you some close-up details of this cabling. Show you my buttons. And then here's the back, which I still have some markers stuck in there. It's a really pretty shoulder detail. Hopefully that's showing up there. I really like that. This pattern actually starts at the neck. You cast on provisionally in this back neck and knit just a little bit over and a little bit over, and then knit down, knit the back panel down. And then you come back and you pick up for your fronts, and then you knit each front separately, obviously, since it's a cardigan, down to the join under the armholes, and then you knit all of it flat from, you know, one side and across the back to the other side. Let's see, the collar is, or the, yeah, what do we call this? The button band is knit as you go. So it's just ribbed, like horizontally. So you just rib at the beginning, before you start your panels, and then go around and you end with a rib, which is really nice because that way when the knitting is done, it's done. You don't have to do any finishing. And I love the way the button band, the collar look up here. I think it just looks really nice and polished, finished. And then you pick up your sleeves and knit down your sleeves, and it's the same cable pattern that you've been working. My sleeves are not stretched out super well. but I was running out of, I don't know if other people have this issue, but I do not have enough blocking pins. So if I'm heavily blocking my body, often my arms, you know, I just can't, there's not enough pins for me to really pin it out well. So yeah, so this is the Darius cardigan, and I've been working on this guy for a couple of months. It is a test knit for Jen Owens. I gotta pick up my notes, which fell. Yeah, this is a test knit for Jen Owens. The pattern, so the test ended at the beginning of September, but it has not released yet. And she's not sure exactly when it will be releasing. The pattern, in my opinion, was in really good shape before testers started working on it. So I'm not like, I don't think it's not being released because there's any problems with it. I think she just hasn't figured out in her schedule when that is going to be released. But I think it's a really beautiful pattern. It makes a, yeah, really nice, comfy, cozy, kind of slouchy at the, you know, at the level of ease that I gave it. Slouchy, but not like super oversized fit for me, which is what I wanted. I don't love a ton of positive ease because with my bust size, like I feel like too much positive ease just tense off of me, and I don't like how that looks, but I really like the fit that I got with this. The cables are really beautiful. I've said this before, but I did have to use, like, I would not have this be probably your first cabling project. It's totally doable in terms of the pattern itself. Like, it's not, the pattern is very well laid out. It is not overly complicated or anything like that. It's not one of those where you have to put together multiple charts. So in terms of, you know, in those kinds of terms, like it's pretty easy, but there are several rows in the chart repeat where you do have to use a cable needle, even if otherwise you can normally do that without a cable needle, because there's just some, like, the ones where you have multiple things crossing, like there are multiple directions and you have to stop and purl some in between and then recross again. Like I don't know how to do those without using a cable needle. I'm sure that where there's a will, there's a way, but it's too confusing for me. So on those rows, I would just have to get out my cable needle. But on the whole, like most of the rows you can work easily without a cable needle, which is like kind of, those are the kind of cables I like when I don't have to use a cable needle. But yeah, I mean, I really don't have that much to say about it other than I think it's a super nice pattern. I love that you don't have to do any extra finishing aside from attaching your buttonholes once you have completed the knitting. I was hoping, I mean, I just assumed, because I have a really huge button collection, because I sew and I thrift, and so I have been collecting, you know, just old buttons, from garage sales and thrift shops and stuff for many years. So I have a pretty extensive button collection, but I could not find any that worked on this. I just didn't have that many large gray buttons, and the ones that I did have, I didn't have sufficient quantity. So it does need 5 buttons. I really think the top one could be left off completely, and if I had been thinking when I was doing my creating the buttonholes, I might have done that, but I wasn't. So we've got this one that's a little high up. I can button it, and it looks fine, but I think I will probably tend to just leave it unbuttoned. That top one. So I ended up ordering these buttons off of Amazon. They're mother of pearl buttons, because now that Joann's is gone, I was like, where am I gonna buy my buttons? Because that was always where I went in the past when I was in need of store-bought buttons. So yeah, so I just ordered them off Amazon. I was, kind of worried, but they were perfect for what I wanted. So yay. So Darius is finally finished, and I'm thrilled to be able to have that. I think it's going to be a great cardigan for the late fall for us when we do finally start getting some kind of crisper temperatures, and then it will be also good in the late winter, early spring when we're still, it's pretty cold, but not super cold. So this is knit in sport weight, high desert, let me see, what was the color? High desert sport in Woodsmoke Heather, is the colorway. So if you've been here very long, you've probably heard me gush about high desert. It is my absolute favorite yarn. If I could only knit with one thing, that would be what I would choose. Unfortunately, I don't have the budget to be able to only knit in high desert because it is, for me, a fairly pricey yarn. I think it's now about $20 a skein for the sport weight, and so I'm definitely only getting it when it's on super sale. So it is a Knit Picks yarn though, and it is fully, I think it's fully American made and produced. It's definitely American grown. Because I've heard them interview the ranch, the woman who owns the ranch where it's raised, but it's Shaniko wool, and I think it's also milled in the US, but maybe not because it doesn't actually say that on the website. But they do have like the special certification that does like track that it has been ethically produced at every level, I think, in terms of both the animals and the people who are involved. So that's good, and that's part of what you're paying for. I understand. It's just, you know, not an everyday yarn for me. It is definitely a splurge and to be used in special pieces, and I hope I'll get lots and lots of wear out of it. I love high desert because of the texture. It feels a little bit, it feels a lot more textured and in that way rustic than say like superwash merino, but even while it has that texture, which makes it really nice to knit with, because it's grippy, it doesn't feel slick like superwash merino can sometimes. It at the same time that it's grippier, it also is still super, super soft. So that's what I love about it, that it feels so good to knit with, but it also feels really good on your skin. And I can wear, I mean, this is a cardigan, I'll need to wear something under it, but I can wear my high desert pieces next to skin. So that is why I love high desert. Okay, another finished object, which let me adjust the camera somehow, get that off. Which you can see behind me is, I can finally show it all now, the Scrappy Yoke sweater by Olga Putano. So this was one that I tested this summer. I really only took a couple of weeks to knit this because it flew by. We were not able to show more than she had teased on her Instagram, so I was not able to show more than the yoke of this for quite some time. I really enjoyed this pattern. It is super potato chippy. Let's see. Like it's just the same motif over and over again. I just, I used different color combinations. And there are short rows in the back in this first round here so that you get a little bit better fit. A modification I made was to do a folded collar. So the pattern just calls for a traditional, kind of traditional, what am I trying to say? Just a single layer collar, ribbed collar. And I was a little bit concerned because it was only, just a very few rows that we were doing for the collar. It's a really low collar, which is fine, but I was just worried that with all of the weight of that circular yoke pulling on it, that it might be more likely to get really stretched out. Because I would not say it's super wide like some circular yokes are, but it's definitely not a crew neck, which is fine. I don't actually like a super high neck. I don't like a crew neck on my sweaters. So this is a good fit for me, but I was just worried that it might get stretched out over time with just a single layer. And so I just knit twice the number of rounds that that the pattern calls for, so that, visually it would look the same. And then tacked that down on the underside, sewed it down. So so mine is double layered, but like visually it's still the same as in the original. The only other modification I made was my typical quick and dirty full bust adjustment, which is moving the sleeves back a little bit on the towards the back, rather than putting half of your stitches on the front and half on the back. I have more stitches on my front than I do on my back. And I can link the tutorial that I use to learn to do that if anybody is interested, if you haven't ever heard of that and you want to see the logic behind that and the math and how to figure that out. It's not hard at all. There's much less math involved in that than there are in doing like bust starts. So that's why I said it's like quick and dirty way to just give you a little bit more room in your front. So I'm pretty happy with the fit I got on this. It doesn't pull up too much on the front like a lot of my sweaters do, because I did do that adjustment. It also doesn't like balloon out in the back, which is what happens if I don't make that full bust adjustment, because what happens is your full bust like wants to like suck up all of the extra fabric that there is in your shirt garment. And then once your bust is gone and, you know, you go back to a smaller size, then like all that fabric releases. And so what was being pulled forward in the back is now released. And so like at the small of your back, it puffs out. If any of you have a full bust, you might have experienced that. It's a super common problem, and this is not just something you experience if you knit, but like you've probably experienced this with ready to wear clothing as well. So yeah, doing that full bust adjustment like fixes both the front problems and the back problems that we can get. Let's see. So I knit the size 4 in this, which is a 44-inch bust. So that gives me 4 inches of positive ease around like my shoulders and stuff. A little bit of negative ease through the actual full bust. Olga's sample, it has a little bit less ease. Her sample has 2 inches of positive ease. So hers looks a little bit more fitted than my version does. Like I said, I really enjoyed this pattern. It was super potato chippy. She used 4 colors on hers. I used 8 colors on mine, and really you could use as many colors as you wanted. This would be a wonderful scrap buster. I didn't use scraps. Mine were all ones that I had, you know, a good quantity of this yarn, but I just wanted to work with all these colors. I really liked all of them, like the palette that I pulled together. Somebody on, I was reading on like Craftsmark or something on Reddit, and somebody on there used the word clowncore to describe something, and I was like, I think that might be my aesthetic. I think clowncore might describe it. I just love bright colors. What can I say? I love them all together. So this is not subdued. It is not sophisticated, but I love it. I love it. So I'm really looking forward to this. It is made with Knit Picks Hawthorne. Kettle dyed. There are a couple of their hand paints in here, but these are mostly the kettle dye tonals. And I just love the depth of color, the variegation, slight variegation that you get in these. I love those jewel tones. And I've spoken on here before about how much I enjoy Hawthorne as a garment yarn, a yarn to make garments with. Even though it's advertised as a sock yarn, it does have nylon in it. I think it makes fantastic sweaters. So they're really lightweight and springy. And yeah, I'll be able to wear it definitely in those transitional months when there's no way I could wear a full on like worsted sweater or something. I'll be able to wear this and it will be great. So I love Hawthorne for a sweater like that. Yeah, so pattern was delightful. I think I mentioned before that I did not really enjoy the testing experience that much. And that was because the test was done in a Google Doc, and we really didn't get our questions answered. I think Olga had some stuff going on this summer and just wasn't able to be very present. And so it was just sort of every individual working all by themselves on this. And I discovered that even though I don't I'm definitely not a super chatty person in the like Instagram chats or in Ravelry threads when I'm doing a test. I do look at those. I do follow them, and apparently I get a lot more inspiration from them than I had realized until I didn't have that option anymore. So yeah, so that was kind of a bummer. But I do love the product that I got out of it, and I love my sweater, and the sweater pattern, like the design itself, it was all in really great shape. So it was not, it was definitely not my worst testing experience, which was a situation where the like designer was new and didn't really know how to do things, and there were a lot of errors in the pattern because it had not been tech edited. That was not the case here. This was, for my size anyway, everything was in really good shape, and I didn't have any questions about what we were doing in the knitting part of it. I just wanted to get some like permission to do my modifications, and never got those questions answered until after the test was over. So yeah, so buy the design without fear. It's wonderful. I highly recommend it. Okay. Next up, I do have made some progress on my projects. My EnolaV is getting extremely close to being finished. She's very wrinkled. She's been squished in a little tiny bag, but she has a sleeve. This is new as of just a couple of days ago, so it's really not a sleeve, it's just the kind of armband there. And so I need to put on another armband, and then I'm basically at the point of doing the hem ribbing down here. I wanted to get my armbands on just to make sure everything was where I wanted it to be before I quit knitting, but yeah, I really think that this is super cute. I'm loving how it looks, when I try it on. I really like this color on me. I don't have a lot in this lavender color. So yeah, this one, hopefully this weekend I can get that finished up. It's Wednesday now, so hopefully over the weekend I'll be able to get in some good time with that one. So that is the EnolaV by JST Knits, and I'm making the size 4, and I'm using Holst Garn Coast, which is a wool cotton blend, and it's a super light fingering, which I hadn't fully realized before I started working with it. And so I was concerned that it's going to be too sheer, but I think it's going to be okay. I guess I haven't tried it on like outside to see how it looks when there's, direct sunlight, but looking at it in the house, I think it's going to be okay on me. So yeah, it feels incredibly light though. When I put it on, the texture is just really interesting. It feels almost crispy, but it's so light. This will definitely be the lightest garment I think that I've ever made, because I have worked with lace weight before, but it was lace weight held double. So I think that might've been heavier than this is. Yeah. So really happy with that, and very excited that it's almost over, because, fingering weight, it is going, kind of slow. All right, and next up we have got some progress on what I'm calling my Loungey Raglan. So this is an extremely heavily modified zipper sweater light by Petite Knit, that I didn't want to do the collar and the quarter zip and stuff on, but I just wanted to use her numbers because I felt like I got a really good fit for the oversized sweatshirty feel that I was going for, that I was envisioning for this. I felt like I got that in my my zipper sweater light, and so yeah. So I'm just using kind of the numbers for this, and I'm using Knit Picks Bubbly Boucle is the yarn for this. So you can see that texture. It looks like a teddy bear. And I don't know if I should try this on or not. I left off in the middle of a row here, so try not to lose my place. yeah, so I am just envisioning like this being an around the house kind of raglan for the winter time. I can wear it on the weekends after I come home from work. And so yeah, not too much to say about it. I did the contrast because I thought that was fun. I wanted, I don't know, like I didn't exactly want the collar to be this standoffish, but I also don't like a collar right up against my neck. And so this isn't exactly what I was envisioning, but I'm not sure I'm mad at it, and I don't know that I'm gonna change anything about it, because I don't mind the fact that it's high, but it sits off. I don't know. I guess we'll see if I think it looks weird once I get the whole thing done. Because I just cast on and started with the body here, and then came back and picked up stitches for the collar, so I can totally take that collar off, no big deal, and redo it however I want. But I don't know that I will redo it. Because I like the fit of it, even if it might look a little bit strange. So really nothing to report on this one, except that I have made progress. I had some extended family members over a couple of weeks ago, and they commented, they're like, ooh, I don't like the texture of that. The alpaca, it's not super soft. I find the texture to be interesting. But yeah, I'm not sure what they like. It looks kind of like it would be super soft, fleecy feeling. And it's not. That's not how it feels. It is more textured, but what I like about it is just that it's very textured and also extremely light. So that whole thing like is going to be really big and oversized, but it's also going to be light, which is what I'm excited about. So I don't know. They don't like the texture, but that's okay. They don't have to wear it. So, yeah, so that's another project. That one is kind of slow going, or it is very slow going for me because of the texture of the yarn. It's just, I have to be looking at it. I can't, I definitely couldn't do that one in the dark. I've got to be someplace where I can keep an eye on what I'm doing, because, you have to look at it to see, am I catching the actual core or am I just catching a loop? Because it's really easy to drop stitches or pick up stitches in it. Yeah. Okay, next up, one that you haven't seen in a very long time, my Umbria Summer Top by Cookie the Knitter, which there may not be any more progress, or not visible progress, since the last time I showed it. I have been making progress on this one though, it's really slow. I think I've said before, but this is kind of like my church knitting right now, because I don't need instructions or anything on it. It's just a 2-row repeat. And so it is good for that, but I just have not had the willpower to work on it in other context. I have been more interested in my other projects, so it is still very slowly being slogged through, and maybe it will get finished this year. I'm starting to despair that I will get it finished in time to wear it this summer, but that's okay. It will be hot again here before too long. I have cast on, here it is, my Dunedrifter by Wool & Pine Designs. So this one is definitely going to be hard to show because it's such an unusual construction. So you actually start this one by casting on and knitting the sleeve. So this is one of the sleeves, cast that on in the round, and then you put half of your sleeve stitches on hold, and then you cast on for the back stitches. So, and then you're knitting the other direction. So you're knitting, normally you're knitting back and forth and the fabric is growing this way. In this one, you're knitting down, and then it's going to grow horizontally. It's going to grow across. So this is, actually, I'm working on the back. The back and the front look the same, but yeah, so this is how it's going to go. And I have, when you start, once you cast on the back, this part, then you get to start working the really pretty lace detail that's at the bottom. Right now, my lace is not looking super beautiful. So I'm really hoping that once I get that blocked, and you know, usually that is the case with lace, right? It always looks bad before it's blocked. So I'm hoping that is the case here, and that it will be beautiful like their samples are once I get that knit and then blocked out. I'm trusting the process on this because right now it does not look super good. But the stitch pattern is pretty fun to do. So I am enjoying it. I did most of this the other on Sunday night. We watched one of the 8 Passengers documentaries, which was something else. I have been thinking about that one ever since we watched it. But I feel like I got a lot done for the amount of time I spent on it. So, and it was very engaging. I wanted to keep working on it. I would like to work on this one instead of some of my more boring projects, but I also want to get those boring projects off the needle. So, yeah, Dunedrifter. I am making that in, oh my goodness, I'm terrible. I didn't write it down ahead of time. Samia. Sorry. I am not familiar with that word, and so I can never remember how to pronounce it. I think it's Samia. This is a newer yarn from Knit Picks that is Cupro. And like it's supposed to be a warm weather type yarn fiber, and it's Cupro and maybe viscose as well, but it is very shiny, as you can see, and it has like a ton of plies in here, and it really likes to come unplied as you're knitting with it. If you like, I was having a really hard time knitting into my cable cast on stitches because like it was really wanting to unply from the cast on. So that was a little tricky, but overall I'm enjoying working with it. The sleeve and a little bit of the back section might have looked bad because I was working with, I always reuse my swatches. I pull those out and reuse them immediately. So I was working with ramen noodles, and I know that will block out and look fine. It will not be as bubbly and gross looking as it is right now. So let's see. I also did a secret test knit that I can't show you, but let me just say that if you enjoy a Halloween knit and you like Telly Bean Knits cowls, you should definitely join her mystery knit along. She's done one of these the last 2 years, so this will be like the 3rd year in a row I think she's done one, and where she does one of her cute color work and textured cowls, and it's gonna be super cute this year. So I would highly recommend that. You can join right now for 50% off of the pattern. So it's a mystery, you haven't seen it, but it's cute. It's cute. Let's see. So I did that. Can't show you that. I won't be able to show you that until after all of the clues have been released. So I think that will be like October 13th or so. Yeah, but it's super cute. Knit Picks has partnered up with Knit for America, a charity that they're kind of like a central place where you can send knitted or crocheted blankets, hats, mitts, scarves, things like that, warming up things. And they partner with other organizations to like send them what they need, and they so Knit Picks is partnering with them, and as part of that they created a little like free bundle of patterns that you could get and use their suggested yarns with that. And so I didn't need to buy yarn because I have lots and lots of one of the suggested yarns, which is Mighty Stitch, because Mighty Stitch is totally machine washable and dryable. So I knit up a very quick little version of the free pattern that they released, which is the Adri Mitts by Emily Geist. So there's a mitt and hat pattern that are the same. It's basically, you know, it's just your basic twisted, half twisted rib pattern. These are knit flat, and then you just seam from one end and then seam from the other end and make a little thumb hole there. There's no gusset or anything like that. So if you're a total beginner, this would be a perfect project, except for having to do the, you know, knitting through the back loop. So I was kind of sick of the half twisted rib after I just did these. I was like, I don't want to do a whole nother hat in this. So I went and found another hat pattern, which is called Daniel's hat by, this is a pattern by Isolde Teague. It is free, and it's to like practice or learn brioche with. And then I added a very long brim on it so that it could be folded up. So that's not in the original pattern. I added that and did the contrast brim because I wanted to use up more of my yarn. But yeah, so brioche, super cute. Used up most of that yarn, which is always good. Love to stash bust. So I think those are all of my finished items. I did do a little bit on the axolotl socks, and then I got sick. I have not done them. I haven't done anything at all on those since I got sick. So I have added a few things, but they are still struggling along, not complete, but they are on the couch with me where I knit. So hopefully I will keep them in mind. And then recently I have signed up for 2 test knits because I don't know what's wrong with me. 2 more test knits now that I don't have any current test knits. And those are going to be the Draco Manus mittens by Grey Owl Knits. It's a really cute dragon. Well, it's not cute. It's you know, it's not cartoony. It's like from a 15th century French something she was inspired by. So like it looks old, medievally. So I thought they were cool. I like dragons. So I'm going to be test knitting those, and they should be out by mid-October. So very exciting. And I love color work. It will go by fast. And I love Sarah's pattern. She always does a great job. And then I'm going to be doing the Cozy Cottage cardigan, which is a new design coming from Wool and Pine Designs. So I've got Dunedrifter already on the needles, and now I'm going to be working on this one. It is a all over brioche cardigan with some garter stitch edges. Hopefully I'll put a picture of it up here. And it is a stash buster is what it's intended to be, because you are working with multiple different fingering weight yarns throughout the whole thing. Like you're holding, you're working with 4 strands at any given time. So, you know, they're thinking of it as like an opportunity to really play with color throughout, change your colors often, and then also like use up all of those scraps. So I will probably this weekend be pulling out my collection and looking at what all yarns I want to put together and play with for that. Yeah, so I have not had time or the wherewithal to really sit and think through my fall plans, and now I don't know that I will make any, just because I don't know how long this big brioche cardigan is gonna take, because I have done brioche before. Obviously, like I just did a brioche hat, like I can do it, but it is slower. Although like with 2 strands of fingering, I don't know, like maybe it'll go pretty fast at that weight. We'll see. I don't know how that's gonna go. So I'm not making any hard and fast plans. Yeah, and just to give you an update, I did end up entering several things in the state fair and dropped those off, and we're actually going, my mom is coming up to where I live, and we're gonna go to the state fair together and check out the exhibits, and that's when I will find out if I won anything. I'm like super excited about it. I haven't entered into the fair since I was a child, so and I don't think I ever entered anything in the state fair. So I don't know. I'm just unaccountably excited. I'm childishly excited about that. We'll see how it goes. I did, when I dropped off my items, the lady that was checking them in said that the two women who usually are going back and forth for first and second place in the knitted category were both judges this year. So I was like, oh, and maybe that means I will stand a chance. Anyway, so super excited. I'll let you know how that goes. But yeah, that's what I have. Again, if you were the winner whose name I announced at the top of this, please get in touch with me so that I can get you your pattern. And in the meantime, I hope you are able to knit what brings you joy, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.